All right, in North Carolina, one day after special congressional elections netted 2 Republican seats, Republicans in the state legislature pulled off a move that the Raleigh News and Observer called a, quote, shameless theft of democracy. While the governor and some Democratic lawmakers were at services commemorating 9/11, North Carolina Republicans called for a surprise vote to override the governor's budget veto. Democrats say the vote was not scheduled. They were under the impression they didn't need to be there, so only 12 Democrats were in the state house when it all went down.
Mr. Speaker, you are making a mockery of this process. You are deceiving all of North Carolina. Your leadership is an embarrassment to the history of this great state. At this moment in time, you are doing the unspeakable. Is this the legacy you want? Are you proud of this? Are you proud of yourself?
Are you happy?
Look at you. There's no one here because we have been deceived.
Do you think
The trustworthiness is gone.
Do you think that
We will not yield.
All right, joining me now to talk about what exactly is going on in North Carolina is the governor of the great state, Democrat Roy Cooper. Governor, I was just in your state last week as we were covering the hurricanes, and I never cease to tell people what a beautiful state it is with great people and terrific food. What is going on with your politics?
Well, there's no question that North Carolina is a great place to live and raise your family. But, Allie, what we saw today was an assault on democracy by the Republican leadership. I vetoed this bad budget because it valued corporate tax cuts over investment in public education and denied health insurance to 500,000 working North Carolinians with Medicaid expansion. For over 2 months, instead of negotiating with me to come to some consensus, this Republican legislature continued to try to override my veto. They did it by bullying legislators. They did it by bribing legislators, even offering to move the entire Department of Health and Human Services to any legislator's county who would vote to override my veto. They couldn't get the votes. So what they did was lied. They told Democratic legislators, and they told the media that there would not be votes at 8:30 this morning on 9/11, a day when Americans should be standing in solidarity. They scheduled this vote and overrode the veto, and the people of North Carolina lost today. Teachers lost today. Working North Carolinians who don't have health insurance lost today, and it is wrong. It is wrong.
Wrong it may be. Is it illegal?
I believe that it is. I also believe that it is unethical. And the way they did it, these legislators are citizen legislators, and they have been showing up every day there's a session for over 2 months. One legislator had to get off her chemotherapy bed to get there. They've missed family events. They have missed work in order to be there. And there have been some days when the Republican leadership has told them there's not going to be a vote. And this was one of those days. And I think it's all part and parcel of this Republican leadership in our legislature, which, in fact, is not reflective of who we are as North Carolinians. They were elected under illegal, gerrymandered districts. And in fact, I think one of the reasons we're seeing this is it is the last gasp of a dying majority here. Because I was elected a governor in 2016. I issued a strong clean energy executive order. I appointed by far the most diverse and qualified cabinet in the history of our state. I've been fighting offshore drilling, issued an anti-discrimination order, pushed for public education. And then we went last year and recruited enough people to run for the state legislature. And even under terrible districts, we were able to break the supermajority in both the House and the Senate. And this year we've been stopping bad legislation. So they had to resort to trickery. And now our state courts, unlike the U.S. Supreme Court, our state courts have found partisan gerrymandering to be unconstitutional. So now they're having to redraw their districts. And every single one of those House members and state senators are going to be up for election next year, along with me running for re-election for governor. And there will be a judgment day in North Carolina. There's no doubt about that.
Gerrymandering is an important and serious issue across this country, and it is driven home in North Carolina. In fact, I'm just our viewers a picture of North Carolina's 12th congressional district, which was formerly the most gerrymandered district in the United States. One doesn't have to explain gerrymandering. One can just look at a picture of that district and say, that's not really a thing, right? That's not possible. This Republican dominated legislature in North Carolina has been up to this for a while. When you became governor, they attempted to strip you of most of your important powers.
They did, and we were able to sue them and get a lot of it back. But you're talking about a legislative leadership. When they drew these congressional districts, they did it with partisanship in mind first and foremost. And in fact, we're a state that votes pretty evenly, Democrat and Republican, and they drew districts that resulted in 10 Republicans and only 3 Democrats. And when asked, this particular leader who told our Democrats today that there would be no votes at the 8:30 session, this leader, when asked, how in the world, when it's so even in North Carolina, can you end up with 10 Republicans and 3 Democrats? His answer was, we couldn't figure out a way to make it 11-2.
Wow.
Now that is straight partisan, game-playing, gerrymandering, and it is wrong to the core. It's resulted in the extremism we have seen from our legislature in North Carolina. But we are winning here. We are turning things around. We still have a fight in the Senate. We broke the supermajority in the Senate as well, so we're going to fight it. But our best chance was in the House, and they had to use lies and deception in order to get this done today. And it's wrong. And I believe the people are going to react positively next year when every one of them are up for election.
Governor, good to talk to you. Thank you for joining me. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper.